2, 1. After severe technical difficulties, all that was left was Fragments of Silicon.
Welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. There may be pangs of frustration this episode because, yeah,
I'm just gonna do all my shows from my iPhone from now
on. You may have to, given your cat problem.
Yeah.
We've been suffering a lot of technical failures today.
It's like, no, it's okay, guys. I'm just the executive producer. Nobody important. My technology doesn't need to work.
Well, at least enough of it does so you can be here. We can understand you now.
The jury is still out.
Yeah, I still think he speaks in tongues.
Anyway, I'm your host, Adam.
Don't make me go Hank Azaria on your ass.
Joining me, as always, is the regular crew. I'm like, whoop.
Hi.
Hooray.
Yo. I left hours ago. I don't blame you.
Yet we persevere, and now we are here because we have obligations to fulfill. Now, anyway, so on with the news. Twilight, you start us off this week.
Well, the weather's been nice. And they finally got the road on the way to work fixed, so it's kind of rough and tired to drive on now, so still I gotta kind of go around it sometimes. Let's see now. Been doing some rearranging in my room, getting rid of some stuff that I don't need anymore. And that's been going pretty well so far. In terms of gaming news, I got a PS4 now.
Hooray!
Did you get one for everyone else? I'm
afraid I don't have enough money for that. I got Monster Hunter World with it.
Good choice, good choice.
Yeah, I want to get Persona 5, but I decided to get that one first.
I think Persona 5 is actually on sale on PSN this week for Golden Week, if you want to look into that.
I'm not crazy about PSN right now, but I might try it anyway. And I've also been playing the games for review this Sunday, and that's about it.
Okay. I'm like, anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. Galix, you go.
It's raining and pouring. The old man hasn't gone to bed yet. I think he's still in the other room. Let's see. Not a whole ton going on around here. We had a big family birthday thing last weekend. That was pretty nice. Got to see my grandpa, who's recovering from surgery. He's in rehab, and I think he's moving out to his girlfriend's house sometime this week. So it's good that he's doing better. There was a big update video game-wise in Splatoon 2 the other day, and I've been trying to play more with that since there's a lot of new clothes and stuff, so I haven't gotten to do much with the games for this week yet, but I plan to do that like a little later. So that's about all I have right now.
All right. Mac, you go.
Well, I'm watching the rough cut of Starship Moonhawk, the Mercadian Affair, episode 2. The teaser act. And wow, that is an interesting fade transition there. Thank you, Keith.
Needs more star wipes. Put that in the director's notes.
Hey guys, I guess I'm back.
Hooray!
Yay, we have guest.
Yes.
We've started
yeah,
the show.
Awesome.
We'll be there in a minute. Oh man. So yeah, I'm watching the rough cut right now, and it looks kind of interesting. I can't hear the audio yet, which is kind of the primary purpose of this rough cut, was to see how the audio lined up. But I guess I'll get to that after the show, since I've been having non-stop technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties in a project you're related to. How could that be possible? Rolls eyes.
I would also point out that this is your show.
Fuck off.
Aren't you like the technical director?
Aren't you like the executive head man in charge?
Do you know what an executive producer does? I
Sits on a
supervise
pile
to
of
make
money.
sure- yeah, I sit on a pile of money, like a troll on a toadstool, and then I tell you guys what to do, and then I go back to my ivory tower and count my elephant tusks.
All right. Focus.
You still get to pretend to take the blame. You don't actually have any consequences.
Guys.
Yeah, let's move along.
Anyway, so it's moving along, and stuff is happening, and for some reason I started playing Bubble Witch Saga because it keeps showing up on all my Windows 10 machines. So there's my gaming news.
All right.
Yeah, moving along.
Ogre?
It's actually quite nice weather. It actually got really sunny out. I've managed to do some small amount of laundry there, which is good. Let's see. Recordings are going fine. Finished up Kirby before we're done, so moving on to new projects here and there. See how long these take before we go into other ones. Other than that, I've been playing a bit of Mega Man. Mostly because I was watching a stream the other night of Mega Man. And I was like, man, I haven't played those in a while.
Do you have one of the anniversary ones, or?
I have like the 7 on the 3DS, which I'm playing right now. Just to hold me off up until the Legacy Collection comes out on the Switch. So then I'll grab that. And then I'll grab the X Collection in... Is it June or July? I think it's June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Grab that then. And then I'll just have a bunch of Mega Man. Which that'll make it easier for future recordings.
Super fighting robot?
All right, Mega Man. Other than that, I hope I pre-ordered Dragon Quest XI. There was this. Well, I say that because I saw a deal for like a so much amount off on it from like Green Man Gaming. And I was like, I might as well do that, and I'm assuming it puts it to Steam because that was what it had it marked as. But
I think it should be in your Steam library or something like that.
Should be.
I'm hoping so. I have to double check that later, but yeah. So I hopefully have that pre-ordered, and I've been casting TikTok, but that's not working. Turns out it only just changes it from night to day. It doesn't actually change the day. Didn't teach me that in wizard school. Other than that, not really a whole lot going on here, so.
All right. Petty Fan, that means it's your go.
Well, my sister and mom are going to Tennessee this weekend.
Eddie, oh my god, Stack!
Oh, don't worry, that'll come later. But yeah, so my sister and mom are going to Tennessee this weekend, so hooray. Also, we might potentially be going to the Bahamas next year. We still need to see if some things work out, but that might be an interesting family trip thing.
I gotta
So,
say, your whole life is an adventure.
well, I've never actually really went, a whole lot of places. So it's like, eh, you
I'm
know,
just talking about just where you were last month.
yeah.
To,
And let's see. As far as gaming news goes, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of gaming, honestly. Like, I've been doing Final Fantasy stuff, and I've been wanting to play some more Monster Hunter, but I keep getting distracted by other things. So I guess that's it for me.
all right, my go. Um, well, yeah. Quite frankly, I just want to speed through this because everything's now working. Yeah, it's one of those. Everything decided to break at once.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-shows.
Yep.
It's like, but everything looks to be working. Well, except for the footage. There was no easy workaround around that, so we're just using YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Turns out if you try and stream and download a game, Steam doesn't like it.
I think you can turn off in Steam the setting where it will not download stuff if your computer has too much stuff going on.
Well,
But that might only be for while you're playing a game.
It's while you're playing a game. What it is I only have one used disc right now. So if I had Steam on another hard drive, I probably could use it. But right now, it's using too many disk resources to allocate.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that'll about do it for the news this week. Anyway, so finally, merrily, we can roll along to the interview portion of our broadcast. And this week, we've got Jess and Pedro from Massive Work Studio.
Hi, guys.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going better now. Yeah, now that we've gotten all the Skype problems ironed out. Right. Anyway, so
Yeah, I saw that you guys will not be able to play. So yeah, this way maybe you can train a little bit offline, and then when you stream, it will be okay because Doma it's a difficult game.
Duly noted. But before we get into that, we'd like to get a background on the people we interview. And we'd like to start by finding out how they got interested in video games, both on a personal level and a professional level.
Awesome. Jess, do you want to start?
Well, I'm just a community manager with Massive Work Studio, and I first got into video games very early, introduced by actually my grandmother introducing me to Super Mario World and Yoshi's Island on Super Nintendo, and I wanted to get more involved with the actual, game developers and making things real. After I attended my first PAX and, getting to meet the game developers for my first time, and I just fell in love with the whole thing. So here I am.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the producer on Domain. It's my first game that I'm getting involved on the development. My personal history with games go all the way back the 800s, the 80s. I mean, with the consoles such as Amiga, Atari, and also computers from MSX. And at the age of 12, I've started programming on Keybase to make games. But it was just a hobby, and I keep playing. My favorite genre is MMO, but it's an addictive drug that I can't touch anymore, or all my life will go to hell. And yeah, I'm just really in fact, I'm a lawyer by for studying. Yeah, but I'm producing my first game along with Massive Work, and my team is really committed to this game. And for the past year, our motto has been work, work, and work. And I would love to have played some of the games that launched for 1 year from now, but I'm totally out of the market. I believe the last game I played was Ark Survival Evolved.
That's a good game.
Yeah. Like, yeah. You know people who work on that.
That's one I haven't touched yet.
Yeah. Anyway, so Massive Works Studio, what's the background on this developer?
Good question, Adam. It's our first game as a team, but we have already more than 50 people involved in this project. Of course, some of them stay just a few days or a week. But the core of the team, it's 20 people, and some of them have already worked on other games before, and even AAA titles, such as for example, our sound designer worked on many titles of Mega Drive and Master System. When they did a reboot around here on Brazil with a company called Tectoy. Also, he worked on Second Life and Taiko Dawn, another Brazilian game. And we have some 3D artists that have already worked on AAA titles. For example, the 3D artist that made the main character, Abraão Segundo, his name. His last job was the Robin character for Injustice 2. And on the team, we have also his teacher, that it's called Alex Oliver, that worked 3 years on Blizzard in games such as Diablo and World of Warcraft. So yeah, it's our first game as a team, but we have some experienced fellows around here.
Sounds like it. And what inspired you all to come together, make this studio, make this game?
Here in Brazil, we have a convention called Brazil Game Show. It's the biggest one for the public to get in contact with the games and indie developers. And yeah, it was basically me, my cousin, and my two other partners that we get together and decided to study together in the first university course of game design. And then 1 year after that, we decided to make a prototype and bring it to Brazil Game Show, but we had just like 45 days to do that. And we started let's say a 45 days game jam. And we just put everything that we liked, for example, I love science fiction, but I also like games with strategy and survival. My cousin is a Souls-like addictive, and yeah, we started. My other partner, he likes shooter games, and the other one, the art director, he loves the movies from inspired from the H.R. Geiger, and all this first level was inspired and concepted by him. And yeah, we just started with brainstorm, and each one of us were going and putting something that we like, and we put everything in this prototype and bring it to Brazil Game Show to validate the idea. And we were just amazed by the repercussion, because with just a 45 days prototype that looked like I don't know, really 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 bad. But we were in the whole biggest media, because on the indies in Brazil, they were like far behind on that year.
And I suppose that's where things coalesced.
Yeah.
And so, with that background in mind, the game is called Dolmen, and I believe we have a trailer. I suppose we have quite a few materials here, but I think we should play the one that came out today.
Yeah, the Kickstarter trailer, I think it is.
Yeah, either that or it's like the spaceship trailer. Like,
Yeah, the spaceship is the one that came out today.
yeah. So I'd say play the Kickstarter trailer and then play the spaceship trailer.
All right, get the spaceship
Awesome.
one queued up.
Yeah, give us a little bit as Petty Fan sets up the footage.
All right, I think I'm good to go.
All right, proceed.
Hello? You're asleep. I've been visiting you, judging if it would be necessary to communicate. And I'm afraid it is.
In the beginning, everything looked like madness. Many close friends told me, man, you can't make a game that big. But what are dreams? Domain is bigger than us. That's the difference about this project. We have writers, great artists, and a team that never seems to get tired.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, we're not exactly yearning for that. We're searching to be part of something really special, you know? For us, it's not just a job.
We're not only trying to frighten the players. It's about making an experience that allows them to believe in the fictional world we created, the world of Domain. The plot takes us to the edge of the universe, through an alien world as rarely seen before in video games, a different culture with different habits and philosophies. In the role of the only Earthling capable of solving the mysteries of Raven Prime, the player will unveil its secrets as he travels to save his own humanity.
And now, the most special part of the game. This part is you. We need you to believe that Domain can become real and support us to finish it. All this work has no meaning if you don't want to be our secret weapon. And at this moment, that's exactly what we need. That's why I'm honored to be here, representing my team, representing our dreams, to ask for your support on this project. Join us, and together, let's make Domain a real game.
Do you want me to play the other trailer too?
Yes, that. Yeah, this is the latest footage of the game, which was put out today.
All right.
It's kind of a making of, guys.
Yes.
A look behind the scenes.
In Domain timeline, human technology has reached a very advanced level. We are first introduced to this technology inside the spaceship where the main characters awake. As his only link to the planet Earth, this technology is the only connection to our society, his only connection to home. Even on a hostile alien planet, a man must have some reminder of home. For example, there's a kitchen in the ship. Next to it, the command room. Let's take a look at another level. Here, we can see the tools which the players can craft and modify their armors and weapons. Our character armor and appearance began using a similar style. But since our character is agile and needs to be nimble and quick on his feet, we needed a very different design from traditional spacesuits. As a result, we designed all of our armors to have their own signature. There are organic spacesuits made for enemy carcasses, environmental elements, and more. Ravion Prime is full of possibilities. How will you win?
Alright, is there any other trailers you want me to show, or?
I think we're good on footage. At least, first run anyway. Right, and indeed, there's lots to unpack there. Like, so where to start? I suppose we should start with the fact that this is actually an active Kickstarter project. As in, at time of recording, this is live. This has actually been going for about 2 weeks. Looking at the full details here, Dolman has a amount of $33,000 pledged out of $90,000 total. It has 628 backers and 12 days to go in current time frame. So I suppose the first question is, what led you to launch a Kickstarter in the first place?
Yeah, the great thing about Kickstarter is that the involvement with the community and everybody with the project. That's why we started making behind the scenes videos. Try to have everybody involved as much as we can, especially our backers with the project. And it's helping us a lot to build our community. We already had a small community because this is one important thing to say is that this is just a demo. Our game is in a pre-alpha phase. It's starting its alpha phase. What we have here for the backers on Kickstarter is just a demo, but you can play and have fun for up to 1 hour on the first play. And yeah, on the Kickstarter, of course, the resources are important for us to finish this first level until we find a publisher and more investors that we are already talking with. And we just didn't want to wait and had to stop the production until we got a publisher. So we decided to start a Kickstarter and invested our time on this to build our community and get more funds to get us going until we find a publisher.
So this is in order to complete the demo, or like a proof of concept?
Yes, both. Well placed. Yeah, so we proved it one more time in another Brazil game show last year, and this year we brought it to the public 2 times, one at GDC and another time at PAX East. And everybody, the feedback from the public is just overwhelming, because all the bad critics aren't bad. It's just like things that we have to improve because it's just a demo. So every comment and every feedback shows us that we are on the right way, and that people, not only people that likes this genre, but other people that give it a try will like it too. Especially those ones that like RPG, science fiction, cosmic or Lovecraftian cosmic horror. The ones that really likes the lore, and those guys that like survival, like me. And yeah, we're trying to mix a lot of things here.
It's got a little something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I suppose so. And where does the name Dolmen come from, or what is that in reference to exactly?
Domain, if you try to go on Google Image, it's a stone sculpture that in some cultures, Asian culture think that it may be a portal to another dimension or to the world of the dead, or some other cultures use it as a place to rest in peace. Yeah, and at the beginning we are looking for some word that had the same uh, mean that a portal or a gateway.
And I
But
assume
it's a name that already exists.
right, and that feeds into the lore or the storyline of Dolmen.
Yes, I don't want to spoil it a lot, but if you watch, let me see if I have a link here now. Yeah, it's just the opening scene for the game. It shows, it shows a little bit of what Domain is. It's kind of a machine that creates reality. Everything that ever existed, that exists and will exist, every planet, every atom, was, let's say, printed by the Domain.
Yes, I'm sure Petty Fan can throw that up there when he gets the link. Anyway, so when you say a level, exactly like how big is this level? What is this level?
Yes, we are working with big levels, massive ones. And one of the biggest, the more difficult thing that our programmers are having a tough time now is exactly the level streaming, uh, because the level is really big and we cannot load everything in one time. So yeah, for each level, let's say you have like 3 hours of gameplay for each level. So we're planning to have six ones of those, depending on our on the Kickstarter campaign, on the publishers, and more investors contracts.
So I suppose the question is, if this Kickstarter doesn't make it, that doesn't mean the game is dead. It just means that development will be like paused until a publisher can be found.
Yes, of course. For example, we are already developing Domain for 1 year as an independent studio, and for in this project, we have already invested $400,000 along 1 year. So of course, and now we have more resources. We have a proof of concept. We have a demo. Kickstarter is helping us, even if it doesn't go well. It already helped a lot with our community and proving one more time. For example, it was during the Kickstarter campaign that PC Gamer websites like PC Gamers, IGN, and other big outlets watched our games and tested it out and gave us their thoughts, and those were good ones.
And let's see. So, what sort of tiers do you have for your Kickstarter, and what are your goals, as in your your literal financial goals here?
Sorry, Adam, I didn't got the question. Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah. So, what are your Kickstarter tiers, and what are your Kickstarter financial goals? Like,
Yeah, we put it on the Kickstarter stretch goals, our whole scope. But of course, like I told you before, we can work with a smaller scope too. For example, we can launch only 2 levels at the end of this year. Let's say in the worst scenario, we can launch at the end of this year with just 2 levels and 6 hours to 7 hours of gameplay, and it would give us some time and a little bit more resources if we go on early access, for example, and for continue the development. And we can also release additional levels as DLCs. So we have many options. We just want to get the best one uh, from Kickstarter or from a publisher or from it all. Everyone helping, it would be awesome.
indeed. And
So if I could chime in for a minute.
ahead.
I think what Adam is more so leaning towards is as far as the goals go. If the goals met, we want to get out Dolmen onto Windows PC for Steam, Xbox One, and PS4. A Nintendo Switch version is an early stretch goal, which is noted on the Kickstarter page as well. Now the Kickstarter tiers. Our first one is going to just be a simple $10 pledge, for people that are slightly interested in the game and want to see where it goes. They're still going to get access to the 1 hour demo, and they still even get their name in the credits of the game. And then from there, we go up to $20, 35, 50, and higher, all of which include, the demo, of course, name in the credits. As the tiers go up, there's different swag included, like a digital comic book, digital soundtrack, digital art book, a T-shirt, things like that. And then if we want to go to the really higher tiers, there are the option to help create and design a armor or weapon in the game.
Yeah, that sounds all fairly typical of the Kickstarter tiers. Like, you mentioned a T-shirt, so there are physical goods here.
Yeah, we have T-shirt, posters, the comic book. We for a higher tier, you can get it printed too. We have a doll. I don't know the right name, but a character print 3D printed, and yeah,
A
we also have
statuette type thing.
yes.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, is this are those like local only, or will you be shipping internationally?
Yeah, worldwide.
Good to know. Good to know. Like, just
I guess with the usual, they do Kickstarter does now have the thing where you can like build in shipping.
yeah. It's just we've had people who've done Kickstarters before who got into a rough patch with physical goods.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I understand.
it's some people really like physical goods, so it's good to have, but also good to not go too big on.
When you
Yeah, that's
basically
good.
spend more than your Kickstarter amount on physical goods.
Yeah, what we did is just we have those, but in a limited amount.
Indeed. And I also see here that this game has been endorsed by the Square Enix Collective. Like,
Yeah, we were 30 days on the Square Enix Collective platform. With I don't know if you guys know how it works. It's like it's a public voting
we know.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went out at 94% of approval.
How long ago was that?
Mm, 1 month ago, I believe. Yeah, we have started a Kickstarter campaign on the April 5, and we had just finished we had just finished the Square Enix Collective campaign. It's like 1 week before the Kickstarter.
And has Square Enix have they commented on the game themselves?
No. They just were really helpful with the platform because it's really a small gap. You have to I believe it's just 1 day per month where you can submit your project, and we were about to launch Kickstarter, so it was our last chance to go on Square Enix Collective, and we missed the gap because of fuse time, and we got in touch with them, and they were really comprehensive uh, and got us in each way.
That's good. Like, and do you think the being on the platform helped?
Oh yeah, we started. It was like a small Kickstarter, let's say, for the community, because we started receiving feedbacks because we were only, let's say, only in Brazil. We had only been in a Brazil game show. We had lots of feedbacks of Brazilian players, but along with it, kind of a hype of having a Brazilian product that with a better quality, and we were not sure about the feedback from outside Brazil, and Square Enix Collective was the first time that we had it proved outside Brazil.
Well, that's good. I think you might be the first developer we've thought. Maybe second.
I think it's second. I think we had one
like,
in the top 2 days.
Yeah, I'm like, but yeah, still one of the first developers that's actually used their collective platform for feedback. We've had numerous like developers who publish their games from the collective, and indeed, like the head of the collective themselves on this program. So it's good to know that their social media platform is working as intended as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the communication with the Square Enix Collective team was really good, and we would like to have more updates there, but sometimes again, because of, I don't know, they have they had other games at the same time too. But again, we had a lot of feedbacks, and it was in a important time that preceded Kickstarter, and we haven't had any feedback outside Brazil yet. So yeah, it was really important for us.
Indeed. Right. So let me see here. Now, I think we briefly touched upon it, but early access. Do you have any early access plans for Dolmen?
Yeah, for early access is the thing that we really wouldn't like to go, because it's a way that it would mean that we had to reduce our scope, and what we want to do is to make everything, to give more and more content we can to the public. So it's something that we really don't want to do, but if we had to do, there would be no problem.
Okay, so a backup plan then.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Which makes sense because um, I'll be honest, there's a good chance this Kickstarter might not make it, just looking at the numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
and
it's sometimes
yeah,
at the end of the campaign. For example, we have a website like KickTrack, and I don't know. There's another one that in his calculation he takes that it will go up a little bit at the end. So we're hoping to get it done at the end. We're just leaving the God of War shadow. Uh, uh, some players and streamers have already beaten the game, so that's cool. And let's hope with the help of everyone, we can bring it up and give it a less push.
indeed. Like, well, I mean, hopefully you do make it. Um, anyway, shifting away from the Kickstarter and the crowdsourcing for a bit, and into the game itself. Um, yeah, you've mentioned that even though this game looks like a Souls-like game, it's not. My question is, how does the combat differ from like Dark Souls or say Warframe, or outside of like having RPG elements?
Cool. We have a third bar. For start, we have a third bar, a blue bar that is your energy bar. But a good thing that's I've heard people playing at GDC and PAX that started calling it the mana bar, uh, like it was something magical. But yeah, it's the energy bar, and we hit heavy on the consumption of your energy and the mixing between melee and ranged weapons. Uh, Many players when start this game and notice that have a pistol, start shooting, and then you will realize that the shooting part, that your pistol, it doesn't really deal much damage. It only applies debuffs to the target. So the best way, let's say the easy way is to keep mixing different elements with different weapons, and find the what element is better for each enemy. And another thing too, it's when you kill the enemy, the loot of the enemy, it's a little like Monster Hunter. You can make your armors and weapons from the carcasses of the enemies that use the same element of that enemy. So it has an RPG for the crafting system, and on the combat system, you have to keep always mixing melee and ranged weapons, or build your own way of battle. You can as soon as you can level up and craft other equipments, you can create different ways on how to play this game. So what we're trying to do is to get those three things, and make a wide array of choices for the players, give a wide array of choices to players on how to play the game.
Right, and
So if you want to go full Dark Souls battle system, it's possible, but you can also level up and upgrade your gears to go in a different way, let's say.
indeed, and shifting focus here a bit, um, is this game being made in Unreal Engine or Unity?
Yeah, Unreal Engine 4.
And how has been working with that engine so far?
The prototype that I mentioned earlier was made in Unity, and in 45 days, and after that we started all over on Unreal, because let's say things looks looks better. The looks is better with less work at the time. Today, many things progressed on both engines, but one thing that is being difficult for us is to find some key persons for the team. For example, for programming, and animation, people that has the Unreal Engine on their workflow. But as soon as we found some guys and trained other ones, now after 1 year, we have the full know-how to finish this game.
All right, and unfortunately, we are getting down to the wire in terms of time here, so just a few more questions. Like,
we could switch the video. There's a cinematic trailer, I believe, that looks good too.
Okay, Petty Fang, can you do that?
If I can find it.
All right. Anyway, has any sort of development started on consoles yet?
Not yet. Our programmers are eager to get their hands on the dev kits. I've been talking with the guys from ID Xbox and PlayStation for as long as the beginning of the project, I believe, since after the prototype phase. But it's really hard to ship those things. Customs here in Brazil sucks a little bit too, and they're always charging for what they don't even know what it is. So yeah, we prefer to. I believe we'll get those through a publisher when you get to the States again.
And would it be a difficult task to get this game onto the Switch? I know you've got it there as an early stretch goal, but the Switch being the Switch, it's there's a power gulf, and your game might not be able to easily fit in that space.
Yeah, it's always a question of optimization, and we have it already built on the game. For example, you can remove if you have a bad, let's say, config for your computer, you can still play the game. You just have to go to settings and put everything low. But I'm not saying that it's that easy, but it's all a question of optimization. As soon as we get the dev kit for Nintendo 2, we can start testing now.
Makes sense. Right. Let me see if my colleagues here have any final questions for you.
I don't have any on hand.
I don't have any.
But I think I did find that trailer you were talking about, so I think that should be playing in the background.
Awesome. Yeah, let's watch this one.
Alex?
Sorry, no, I don't have any questions, but I do want to wish you good luck with the Kickstarter. It's nice to have one of those again, because sometimes it seems like people are getting less anxious to do Kickstarters for games, and I think it's a good platform.
Well, to be fair, the anxiety is, warranted. We've had how many high-profile failures in the last few years?
But you guys seem to have a fairly good idea of what you're doing, at least. You don't have some of the feature creep that some of the failures have had. So,
thank you very much, and I would like to thank you guys, because without it's you guys that are helping us, and I would like to invite you to join our Discord server since we had so many problems with Skype today. And yeah, and help us with your feedbacks. If you like to play this, if you have 1 hour to play, and just give us your thoughts, it's very important. I used to think that get feedbacks or game testing was just about find bugs, but now I know that it shapes the whole creation in different levels. For example, from the game design, from the level design, or how a creature reacts or the balances of the game. Everything uh, is made by the feedback from the community and from you guys. And
Yes,
thanks,
and although
Adam.
it is just the demo, we are it is being updated and patched as we go and are getting feedback, and the backers are able to see the progress in the demo.
Well, I mean, I suppose we can use these codes that you gave us for a multiplayer session. I suppose my final question on my end is, how does the multiplayer work if there is any multiplayer?
It's not implemented yet, but it will work just like Dark Souls, where you can invite a friend to help you beat a level or a boss. But as soon as you do that, your dimension is open to be invaded too. So someone can invade your dimension, kill you, and steal your stuff. And also at the end of the campaign mode or the story mode, we'll have a arena PvP for the guys to test out their characters, how they have built it up.
Sounds interesting, and very soulsy. If we can use that as an adjective. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's sold enough to warrant being an adjective at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I suppose we can play through the demo this Friday. Usually we do a multiplayer session, but since it's not there, well, we'll have Petty Fan play the game, and we'll mention our impressions there.
Yeah, we'll get you guys a link to the Discord server. It's very active with the backers that are playing the demo and giving constant feedback, and we'd love to have you guys in there and give us your opinion.
No problem. Just put it in the Skype window and get to it.
Yeah, you can like anytime you can talk to devs. You can talk to the programmer, to the level designer, or the 3D artist.
Yeah,
And it's
Discord has
awesome.
been a really nice thing for game developers, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both internally and externally.
Skype has still more people, I found.
Well, yeah, but Discord it's a different kind of platform.
I know. I'm just saying for our purposes, I don't see us ever shifting to Discord just because so many less people have it.
I mean, we do have a Discord.
Yes, we do. It's like if you want to join our Discord, it's right down there in the Twitch page. Anyway, so yeah, I'd want to thank you both for joining us this evening and persevering through the technical hitches.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. Anyway, the game is Dolmen. It's currently active on Kickstarter. I'll have to read this out for the people who are just listening in. You can go to Kickstarter.com, projects Dolmen Games / Dolmen Where Stars Bleed / description. Yeah, it's a long link. You can also just look for Dolmen on the Kickstarter search engine thing.
Yeah, that's probably easier.
That works too.
It's just, yes, sometimes people aren't looking in the chat or whatever, and they don't see the links, so you have to read it out. Plus this is kind of
our website it's easier. Domengame.com. You'll find the Kickstarter link and everything there.
All right. Yeah. So, and time of recording, it still has 12 days to go. And hopefully things proceed, in a good manner. All right. Petty Fan, play us to the next section. So welcome to the topic of discussion for the week. We actually had 2 plans in case things didn't work out, but since we had a normal show, we will be proceeding with the Valve topic, and we'll probably be using the Telltale Games topic next week unless breaking news happens. But anyway, so we want to talk about Valve, but in a very specific context. That is to say, the modern context. We want to talk about Valve as they are now, not the developer of Half-Life, the developer of Portal 2. We want to talk about Valve, the owner operator of Steam, and to be honest, not much else. I mean, even Kotaku kind of took the piss out of Valve's current position, now didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like because Valve, to say they're not a developer anymore isn't true. They've developed games, they've offered support, but Valve made a very conscious decision about 7 years ago, after the development of Portal 2. They moved away from single-player narrative to focus on multiplayer experiences and games as service projects. They were kind of ahead of the curve, I'll give them that, in predicting where the industry would go. It's just, it's made them money hand over fist because,
But it's
Dota
also
2,
left a lot of kind of frustrated consumers.
yeah, it's like, because, Half-Life 3 never happened. Half-Life 2 Episode 3 never fucking happened. I'm like, you can say it's better that Valve never closed off the series, but, people want fucking closure.
Mm-hmm.
Even terrible closure is, unless you
Closure.
really fuck it up, is better than just having it dangle there for fucking ever.
At this point, they could never do anything that would live up to the hype.
Yeah, or up to the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though it is Valve we are talking about here, who has arguably never done a bad game. Granted, they haven't done that many games, but still, they are recognized as one of the top developers.
I suppose
just,
if you're going to more or less stop, that's when to do it, is when you're doing well.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's not that they stopped. It's, they're more invested in making hats for Team Fortress 2.
They're still updating stuff like CS:GO and Dota.
Well, yeah.
They haven't completely stopped development as actual development. They're just not making new games.
Well, Dota 2 is a game that came out after Portal 2. But it's...
And that was still what, 8 years ago?
I think it was less than that.
It's still, most other studios have released several games since then.
Yeah, but we start talking about Valve here.
Yeah.
The point is their resources have been committed to these, these live services, whatever you want to call them. And to the point where I've heard, but I haven't really confirmed it, but people with narrative experience have left Valve.
Like the Half-Life writer left.
Mm-hmm. So they've had
which is a big part of why it might not even be worth trying to do another Half-Life game at this point, because
that the subject of Half-Life 3 is kind of it's kind of its own thing, but we're talking about no follow-ups to anything, no Portal 3, no anything but live service updates.
Hats, and more hats.
Yes. The overall point is, it's making them money, but it's not exactly earning them respect. And you might think that Valve didn't care about that, but as it turns out, they do.
Once your player base starts dwindling in a game and hats isn't enough to bring them back, that starts to pose a problem.
It's not necessarily that even their player base is dwindling. I mean, Valve fucking said the reason why they're reversing course. It's because of Nintendo. Like Gabe Newell himself said, they're jealous of what Nintendo is doing. It's like, because Valve, kind of forgot itself. Remember, the Valve of old was not just, a great developer. They were a legitimate trailblazer.
Yeah. These are, ex hacker, ex game modders and hackers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And they haven't been that in a long, long time.
Mm.
And
I mean, fucking Gabe himself worked for Microsoft and helped port Doom.
right now, and that kind of coalesces with a couple of moves they've been making. Take care, Mac. Like, anyway, so yeah, Gabe Newell has said that they, here's the direct quote. What we aren't going to be talking about it today, Half-Life 3, but it's sort of a big thing. The new arrow we have in our quiver really is our ability to develop hardware and software simultaneously. More to the point, we've always been a little jealous of companies like Nintendo. When Miyamoto is sitting down and thinking about the next version of Zelda or Mario, he's thinking, what is the controller going to look like? What sorts of graphics and other capabilities? He can introduce new capabilities like motion input because he controls both those things. So there you go. Valve wants to get creative again because there's only so much you can do with CS:GO skins and hats.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, like, they've got a new game in development, but it's not what you think. Or you might think it's the thing, but it's not the thing. Let me explain. Their next game is a game called Artifact, which is a free-to-play digital card game, but it's not a Hearthstone clone. Like,
yeah, it's actually like a game where you play a card game, not like.
Yeah.
It's not one of those ones where clearly the entire point of the thing is monetization.
Yeah. In fact, they've explicitly stated they want to get away from pay-to-win stuff. It's like they want to have more of an actual card game here. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how they break through the mold, because if there's anybody who can do that, it is Valve. But the other more interesting in terms of going back to narrative focus is the move they made over the weekend. So, in case you haven't heard it, out of the blue, they purchased Firewatch developer Campo Santo.
Huh.
Yeah. Believe me, it took everybody by surprise, because this is the biggest sign that Valve is reversing course. Now, it's probably too late to get the old talent that left. Maybe it'll happen in some cases, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, so Campo Santo is becoming part of Valve. Like, not just the Valve bought the company. I mean, they've done this before, but that didn't really take. Anyway, so what's going to happen with Campo Santo is they're based in London, if I'm recalling, but they are no, apparently it was San Francisco. Anyway, the point is they were based elsewhere, but they are moving to Valve, like the actual Valve campus in Bellevue. And their current project in the Valley of the Gods is going to be a Valve project now. But the good news is the Firewatch stuff, the Firewatch Switch port, for example, that's still going to be a thing that happens. All the console versions of In the Valley of the Gods is still going to be a thing. Valve is basically going to preserve everything that they were working on beforehand. So, if you are worried about the status of that particular title, don't. I will say, like, given their current initiative, Valve is in good hands. Well, Campo Santo's in good hands with Valve.
Mm. It's not like they're just buying them for the name. They actually want to do what they're good at.
Right. Like I said, they want to get back into the game, so to speak. They're done. They're not necessarily done with all of the, Steam stuff, the games they've been supporting, and this isn't necessarily them doing Half-Life 3. In fact, in both cases, this is Valve actually doing new things for the first time in even longer than 2011, because their last products when was the last time Valve released an original game? Was it Portal? Was it Left 4 Dead? No, I'm legitimately asking here.
I think it was Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and if it's Left 4 Dead, that was 10 years ago. Like, that's a long fucking time. Like, so I can definitely see why Valve wants to move into new territory, because that is a long time to not explore new worlds, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And how successful will they be at it? I'm pretty sure Valve is going to be successful at it, because once again, they're Valve. They've lost some key people, I'll grant you that, but they're also, getting new talents in the case like Campo Santo, and they are doing different things with Artifact here. So prospects look to be good. As far as their whole convergence of hardware and software, I got no idea.
Well, seeing how they just killed off the Steam Machine division.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that was their first attempt at that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm just kind of okay. They killed the Steam machines, but wait, are they going to try the Steam machines again? Because that whole democratization of hardware didn't really fucking work. Like, so
well, the Steam machine was a reflex to Windows 8, where people were thinking it wouldn't let you use stuff that wasn't on the Windows Store. But once that became a non-issue, then the Steam machine just kind of died because there was no purpose for it.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Valve is making some interesting moves. It's kind of early to tell what's all going to mean outside of what's been announced, what's already been done, because Valve doesn't speak until they are ready to speak. And that's always been Valve's kind of modus operandi. So I wish them good fortune, because, yeah, I think I'm ready for a Valve game that doesn't involve fucking hats or gambling systems. Like, I know what goes on with CSGO. So, anyway, that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. Thank you for bearing with us as we got our set in order. So, the week ahead. Yeah, I suppose, provided all the codes work and stuff. I guess we'll do a Friday session with the game here. Dolman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong window open. Sorry. I hate that. Anyway, coming up on Sunday, we have reviews of 3 games. I'll be honest, my priority is on Lightfall. That's the game only I got. So, and it doesn't release until tomorrow.
How much do you know how much it's going to be, or?
I think about $15-$20. I'm not sure if they have a price up yet. I haven't looked. But yeah, Lightfall is coming out tomorrow for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo PC, and not the Nintendo, the Windows PC, like probably other platforms there. But yeah, I'm about halfway through it. I suppose I can lead. Really can't talk about the game in too much detail because we're under embargo. So, but I can say it's a very solid game, if being a very typical indie platformer. Like,
there are certainly worse things to be.
Yes. I'll quantify that more in detail on Sunday. Also coming up on Sunday, we have Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle, which is a reskinning of Blue Wizard's previous title, Camp Slayaway.
Only now with 100% more not discount version of Jason.
Yeah, they got the actual. Well, maybe not 100% discount because, well, the graphical style.
I just mean they don't have to featuring the terrible serial killer Basin Voorhees.
That's pretty much what they had in Slayaway.
Right. They have the actual thing.
Yeah, it's like no. Yeah, this is an actual. Yeah, this is basically Slayaway Camp with the serial numbers filed back on.
Right.
You know, and Grood, which I admittedly played the least of. It is a low poly shmup. Very focused on difficult.
You mean it's not a game where you play as that guy from Despicable Me?
No. You know, hopefully I can play more of that before Sunday, but you know, once again, everybody here got copies of the other two games. Although I should note, Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle is actually a free game. We got pre-release codes, but we couldn't get to this game on Friday the 13th because of our review queue. Just how it works sometimes. And let's see. Next week, we were originally supposed to have a Tuesday interview, but this place is getting power washed, so that wasn't happening.
Oh, we could totally do it when no one can hear anything from your end. And you can't hear anything. I don't see why that should be an impediment to having a show at all. No, I'm kidding.
I should hope so. Unfortunately, that interview, that's the limited run, that's now delayed till June because that he's going on vacation for most of May, or he's going to be he's not going to be available. So that's happening in June. Anyway, on Wednesday, May 2nd, John Pickett of Manga Gamer is going to be returning. Haven't heard, he hasn't confirmed, but he's usually reliable. I'll ping him tomorrow. And this time around, we're going to be talking about Supipara Part 2. If you recall, that's one of the... we covered the first one. Geez. I think that was one of his earlier appearances. Like I said, we've legitimately had John on the program, somewhere like 15 times. Maybe 20.
He's pretty close to his second free discount coupon.
Yeah, it's like, we've got it down to where he appears on the program every 2 months. And that's mainly because there's always new shit to talk about in terms of manga game. For example, not only are we going to be talking about the recently released Supipara, we're going to be talking about another game, a sequel to a game we covered in the House in Fata Morgana, A Requiem for Innocence.
Now that is a little bit more interesting for there to be a sequel to.
I'm not sure if it's a sequel or a side story, but it is another A House in the Fata Morgana game. So
yeah, and either way, it's like that's a little bit less obvious of a. I mean, there are some visual novels that are obviously built to have sequels, and that was a little bit less so. Or
right, Supipara was built to have sequels, literally.
Right.
Yep.
Fata Morgana, not so much, but we'll be talking about that and probably more next Wednesday. So until then, I wish you good gaming.